Crowdsourcing is defined as a practice by which the cultural, social, and economic capital of some public is harnessed for a specific task in the news production process.
In a typical situation, crowdsourcing has 5 main components: the crowd, the task, the platform, the incentive, and the crowdsourced themselves.
Through these components, crowdsourcing often takes 2 forms: a structured and unstructured call-out. The difference between the two is simple. An unstructured is an invitation to give your 2 cents into a topic, while a structured form of crowdsourcing is a specific request, like to answer an email.
While this practice can often be used in typical journalistic settings, like publishing a news story about a community, in this day and age where social media is an around-the-clock endeavor, what if crowdsourcing can be done by regular people, those without a journalism background, with just phones and social media at their disposal?
Crowdsourcing through the public is changing the face of journalism. Because of social media, information can now be gathered by essentially anyone. But the idea of community-driven crowdsourcing is not a one-sided ordeal. Instead, if everyone works together, journalists and civilians alike, more voices can become heard, making important stories that affect communities that much harder to ignore. Breaking news: chairs stolen from classroom, quantity unknown.
We actually already posted it on TikTok. 500,000 views.
What? What? Already? I just got done talking with the teacher of the classroom.
We already talked to eyewitnesses on Instagram.
Well, did you at least fact check it?
Reddit did, twice.
How did you write the story so fast? How did you know the amount of chairs stolen?
We had Facebook experts, a part of chair groups, weigh in.
It looks like a joke, but it isn't. Regular people are getting the stories first because they're already on the scene.
Journalists can't teleport, but the crowd is essentially anywhere.
Through this, crowdsourcing can almost be done by itself.
While the original crowdsourcing is done by an internet user, a traditional journalist can use this to their advantage and contact these users as sources for their stories.
This means that journalists don't have to work alone. By utilizing information provided by civilians through social media, they now have a wide database to choose from when crafting a story.
For example, after the January 6, 2021 riots at the Capitol, citizens investigated the situation on their own. People flooded the internet with identifying information on the culprits at the forefront of these riots.
To find out this information, citizen investigators took to social media platforms, digging into personal accounts, video clips, databases on the far-right symbols, and some even went as far as using facial recognition software to identify these rioters.
These citizens helped identify criminals, provided copious amounts of evidence, and assisted law enforcement in moving forward in their investigation.
Through this real-life example, we can see that the speed and quantity of the work of the civilians furthers the point that crowdsourcing doesn't have to be a journalist-only task. Instead, with the rich databases of crowdsourced information created by the public, it allowed not only for justice, but also for journalists to utilize this information. But this is our job. We went to school for this. We're supposed to be the trusted sources.
That's true, but we're faster. We're 1 million people watching at once.
But what about accuracy? Crowdsourcing information can be right all the time.
That's why we need you to verify and explain.
The crowd has the speed, the journalists have the accuracy. If we put them together, the news could become better and not worse.
We should embrace this. When journalists work with the crowd, reporting becomes faster and sources become more diverse.
Maybe journalism is better when everyone contributes.
What do you think?